Mine's pretty long.
Dude, mine is huge.
It's not bigger than mine.
Yeah, well, I've got a weird curve to it, and I didn't even count the curve.
Okay, show me.
See? That's like 39 inches.
It's pretty big. You're watching Throttle Hess. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And I was talking to James the other day, and we realized that pimping ain't easy. But with vehicles like these, maybe it could be.
The new Escalade, unapologetically monstrous with a road presence that could make a G-Class blush. I'd say it takes no prisoners, but it can actually take quite a lot. Because for this year, it's now the most expansive Escalade yet. Longer, larger, more legroom. And today we have it in its most expensive Sport Platinum trim. Have at it, Mercedes.
Mercedes has taken a different approach. The heart of the GLS is in the name, S-Class. So that means not only today does this big bruiser need to show us that it can take down an Escalade, but also that it has the beef to live up to the claim of being the SUV form of one of the most luxurious cars on the planet. If you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing around. So subscribe and hit the bell. Woo-hoo. This is the 580. That means it has a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8, which makes 483 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, and an extra 184 pound-feet of torque and 21 horsepower from an EQ Boost starter alternator. And I won't hear any arguments from James, because for $130-ish thousand, this car is vastly superior in a straight line to James's Escalade. 5,700 pounds and 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. And it does it smoother because of the turbos and the EQ Boost starter alternator.
Look, it's not about 0 to 60 times, all right? And 6 seconds for something that weighs 6,000 pounds isn't bad. And also, this is a 6.2 litre naturally aspirated American V8, not some pithy 4 litre twin turbo V8 that he's in. Actually sounds really significant when I say it out loud. Okay, this power plant is not very elegant, but it's very American. It's 6.2 litres. It's all about displacement. It rolls a bit in the corners, but put my foot down, it's punchy. But punchy might not be enough for the Escalade to reign supreme. And Thomas waved me over to explain why Mercedes think that they've got it in the bag.
Okay. The new GLS embodies luxury, confidence, and intelligence like no other vehicle, says Ola Kalanius, who's like a high-up dude at Daimler.
Sounds like he's high up in the Roman Senate.
Yeah. Also, it says here, this is a quote, "This is the S-Class of SUVs." That's right.
That makes it sound like it's like a metaphor thing, but it's Mercedes saying that.
Yeah.
No one uses the S-Class of for things, right?
They kind of do.
No, you say there's a Rolls Royce of something, or I don't know,
true.
A Cadillac of something, P51, Cadillac of the skies.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And as far as Cadillacs go, this is the Escalade, so it's the king of the Cadillacs, and this is the Sport Platinum trim. So it's standard with air suspension, 4th gen magnetic ride control. Gone is the solid rear axle. Now we have independent suspension. So it should ride like a dream. Except it doesn't. It handles its mass really well. And it doesn't pitch the way you expect it to do. Even though it makes all the truck-like motions, it does drive car-like. But when it comes to impacts or small impacts and bumps, you can feel the sensations through the cabin in a way that's not quite perfect. And when we're comparing it with something like a GLS, which is apparently the S-Class of SUVs, that's where it's going to fall down, because I'm sure that Thomas is enjoying the best ride ever right now.
Let me explain. Generally, a car sits on springs, but beside those or in between them is a dampener or a shock absorber. And what that does is it smooths out the ride and keeps it controlled. Generally, what you want to do is match the spring rate to the damper rate so you don't get any unwanted body motions. That's not really the case here. Okay, in comfort mode, which it defaults to when you get in, it's wallowy and washy and it never settles. And then over sideways bumps, you just keep going back and forth and it's really annoying. It's very soft, but it's not well controlled. So you put it into sport mode, or in my case, I'm gonna put it in individual mode because I want the drivetrain and transmission to be in normal, but I want the suspension in sport. That stiffens it up. And what that does then is it makes the car quite well controlled around the corners. It controls its mass perfectly. It's really easy to drive. Except when you hit a harsh bump, it kind of sends a shockwave or a vibration through the whole SUV. So either you get really soft, wallowy suspension or harsh vibrations. It's just not an S-Class. An S-Class, we've driven a bunch of them, many generations of them in fact, they're beautiful. This is not quite as refined as that. Smooth? Yes. S-Class smooth? No. But if you want, you can get even more technology. You can get the crazy Mercedes suspension that leans into the corner, which is called their e-active body control. And I would like to think that this car with the e-active body control would solve all my issues with the ride, and this could potentially be one of the nicest driving big SUVs that you can buy. Also, it does have the EQ Boost starter alternator, which usually is great not only for all the auxiliary power, but it gives you a really smooth stop-start. This doesn't seem to have that. It just kind of is a normal stop-start system, where it drags you to a really harsh stop, and then when you set off again, the engine kicks in a fairly dramatic fashion. And it's honestly impossible to drive it smooth, so you have to turn it off, but then it doesn't remember that you turned it off, so the next time you get in, it happens again. That's annoying. I know I am being very critical of these cars, and honestly, if you were just a person who's never driven a modern Mercedes and you got in this, you'd think that it's amazing, because it is. It is an unbelievable car. The technology is crazy. But having driven an S-Class, which by the way is the same price as this, it's just not quite at that level.
So the Escalade is powerful, it's imposing, it's big. But I just want to go see what that GLS is like really quickly. So Thomas is going to remind himself of this, I'm going to hop in that, and then we're going to talk about the design.
Well,
it drives better.
Than this.
Yeah, it has more power, first of all.
Yes.
And it drives smaller. It tackles the fact that it's giant better than the Escalade does.
I would say, yeah, it's not as giant.
No,
yeah.
But it still doesn't do it perfectly, and you're right. I understand what you're saying about coming to a stop. Comfort mode is just not where this car is comfortable.
It just never stops.
Yeah, the individual mode's better.
Yeah, I do remember the X7. It was a while ago that we drove it, to be fair, but I strongly remember it driving better than this in terms of the suspension.
I remember not having any issues with the X7.
Exactly, so we'd have to back them to be for sure.
Yeah.
But out of these three, I would say the X7, I think, is probably the best. Anyway, what do you think of the looks of this?
I think it's inoffensive. I think they could have done more as like such a flagship car.
Okay, so...
Right? This is the same company that makes the G-Class, which is one of the most iconic vehicles of all time.
Also, it has the most road presence of any vehicle, I think, on the road.
Next to a Cullinan, maybe?
Maybe.
Which this tackles is more like?
I would say, but this is just like, it's not just below the G-Wagon in road presence, it's way below.
It's way below.
I think it looks just like a bigger GLE and like an Infiniti QX80.
But an S-Class looks like a bigger E-Class, and an E-Class looks like it's just part of the Russian doll syndrome.
Okay, well that's a bigger problem with Mercedes then, I guess.
Yeah, the Escalade in this stunning red. Like we always say that the Mazdas have the
Soul Red Crystal,
which is like the best red on the market. This has got to be up there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a stupid name.
Okay.
It's infrared.
Like infrared, like
Yes.
infrared light.
So by definition is the red that humans can't
That
see.
we can't see.
Yeah.
So this is an invisible
But
car.
I know I can see it. I know I
swear I can see it,
I can
yeah.
also see the offset shark fin, which now that we mentioned it in the last video, it's upset a lot of people because
Yes.
they keep noticing it.
They keep noticing it now. Why is it not in the middle?
Also, we said that this wasn't a bad looking car.
No, we like it. I like it. We do like it. I think everyone in the video, it looks a little bit too boring for some people. But in real life, you have to understand, it's like a whoop.
It's like a condo building.
What?
It's just like, it's maximizing all the square footage it has. So how funky can the design be?
Yeah, it's
because
true.
inside is massive.
It's massive inside.
And this is the short one. So this is not the ESV. This is the one with
That's right.
So yeah.
Which is visually better proportioned on the side, I think. Also, wasn't the Cadillac badge like monochrome in the other one?
It was. I prefer that. These colors are starting to look dated.
So you can option that?
I think, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like this better.
I don't.
It's more, that's the Cadillac symbol. It's a Cadillac symbol.
It looks
It's really cool.
old-fashioned. But the rest of it doesn't.
No, they modernized it. It's not offensive. It's less like chintzy.
Okay,
right?
but do you agree though, chintziness, whatever aside,
Yeah.
this has more road presence. The whole point of the
Then
Escalade
what? Most things.
than this.
Oh, yes.
Right? If you see a convoy of GLSs pull up somewhere,
Yeah.
it doesn't. If you see a convoy of this, it's like that's a military operation /
Yeah, that's the president. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
This is just like, oh wow, when's soccer over?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Well-
see if the inside can at least live up to the S-classness.
Okay. This is a GLE interior.
I knew you were going to say that.
Immediately, because this is not an S-Class interior, James.
No, it's
a
not.
GLE
But
interior.
a GLE interior is not the same as an E-Class. The E-Class has still the flowing lines that come around by the doors.
Well, that's the old E-Class, though.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen the new E-Class yet.
I don't think we have,
Not
anyway.
in person. We've seen pictures of it, but
Right.
we haven't seen it in person.
Anyway, an S-Class interior is a whole stage above this. It is. You got the leathers, the hand stitched, and the whole thing. There's some more options you can get. You can get a better headliner, and this doesn't have the Burmester high-end sound system.
No.
So you don't get the little tweeters that spin out in such a dramatic fashion. What you get is some Mustang plastic.
Yeah, so it's interesting
place.
you mentioned the Mustang thing because the leathers here, this looks all Dodge Challenger.
It kind of does. See, honestly, visually, this is one of the most beautiful interiors I think on sale.
Yeah, it's not noisy.
This
Everything
is-
works perfectly.
this is
We
great.
love the way these thumb buttons work on the steering wheel.
Yep.
The screen
Yep.
size, as we've discovered,
have
is
discovered,
not as
yeah.
quite as long as the one in the Escalade.
Much
but it
kind
is
of my ego.
still significant.
But this is a very nice set of tech that I've got used to after having about 5 Mercedes press cars.
I will
okay?
say these seats are wonderful.
They're quite nice. The headrests are a bit hard though.
Right, but you can just grab the cushions from the back.
You could if you no, you can't because they attach in a. I'll show you.
That's a bunch of
But
bullshit.
but anyway, the ambient lighting in here is next level, and it's super adjustable. Even though I have absolutely no idea how to adjust the ambient lighting, it's super confusing. But I love the heads-up display. Right?
Yeah, it's really aggressive.
It's crazy. It's like Minority Report that meets like Top Gun. It's awesome. Those are both Tom Cruise
and you can
movies.
change it.
You can change it. You can adjust everything. Actually, everything that's in the gauge cluster you can put in the heads-up display adjustably. It's fantastic. It really, really is.
The steering wheel the S-Class steering wheel is wonderful.
It's better. It's better.
This is an E-Class steering wheel. This is
Yes.
a GLE steering. They could have done that. That I'll admit.
But
But this is a quite toned down one as far as the colours of the options. Like this is
Yep.
the grey wood, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can go a bit more.
Listen,
exciting.
I'm not knocking this interior because it's great. It really is.
Yeah, you just want it to be more
But I
like
want it to be an S-Class.
But if you look at like power numbers or size numbers, if you think of this as a GLE with 3 rows,
Well, I don't have to think of it as that because that's what it is.
but if one was to,
Okay.
it's not that different in price. You're not paying massively S-Class differences. So it's just a
No.
market. If you think of it as just a marketing play and you need 3 rows and a comfortable, good SUV,
I am thinking of it as just a marketing play because that's what it is.
they've done a good,
They did a good
job. Yeah.
with the.
This is optioned not with the captain chairs. This is with the 3 seats in the middle.
That's right. Yes,
Right.
and these seats are fine. They're comfortable enough, and they come with the little pillows.
There's a lot more to them than the ones in the Escalade.
Yes, that's true, but they're
lot
not
more.
as spaced out this way or vertically, right? No. We do have this beautiful sunroof as well. Everything's powered. All the seats go up and down automatically. Everything's nice. Like, it accomplishes the task of being a big family SUV. Yes, it creaks. I was hoping you weren't going to push because I didn't want to have to point out one more thing.
I have to be honest, visually it looks incredibly modern. I really like it.
It's beautiful, like these, everything. No, the design of this is fantastic. Someone artistically sketched this and then they built it off of that. And I respect that massively. It's beautiful in here. But let's go look at the Escalade because
they've done some good stuff in there.
They've done some good stuff.
Yeah.
But before we did, I just did a quick test of all the seats in both vehicles. Without the captain seat configuration, accessing the GLS's third row wasn't very easy, and when back there, although headroom was fine, legroom was very tight for my 5'10" bionic frame. In the Escalade, the passenger seats had plenty of space with the driver's seat in my driving position, and things get even better as you move into the third row, where there is both ample leg and headroom. But with a little more playtime, I found the Escalade is not without its problems.
Alright, so I did sit in the back.
Yeah.
And in the Escalade, the rear third row is much more comfortable.
I did notice that.
Yeah,
Well, it's a way bigger vehicle.
But also, the Mercedes has so many buttons that electronically move the seats.
Yeah, you can put all the seats down from the back.
But you could also crush yourself in and all this sort of stuff. This
Yeah.
is more analog.
Okay.
Except it does have one button.
Okay.
Which is very strange and aggressive. Are you ready? I'm scared to do it again.
Why? Why? Scared to do what? What are you talking about? Oh my God.
You see that smack the screen? And then you bring it back up and this side doesn't hit the screen. But if you leave it in that position, then do it again. I don't want to do this.
Wait,
this is a test car. You do it again. Look at that.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like, I know that was me and I was being silly, but there are kids that get in these cars.
Yeah, yeah.
All they do is press the button and smash right into
This is a very nice screen. It's a very nice screen. Don't want to hurt
I want it to stay nice. So that's a ridiculous piece of engineering.
So you have to push this back every time manually.
But even then, it still
comes really close.
Yeah, and most of the time it just knocks it a little bit.
This is in driving position.
Yeah. Ah, 39-ish inches of beautiful curved screen.
Curved screen. That was the sound of the running boards going up again.
Which you love.
Yeah. It's like an aircraft.
This is 2 screens and a couple of hot wings short of a sports bar in here. Which is perfect because it is an American big vote.
You had to have prepped that joke. You had
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, anyway, so here's the thing that I like about this. It's that, but simpler.
You don't feel like you just left a high-end German car to something worse. This feels perfectly competitive.
And here's the thing, is that has more features and more stuff going on the inside. But I feel like Cadillac maybe didn't go, we're going to intentionally make ours simpler. They probably just didn't put that much more into it, but so much to their benefit.
But so there is some gimmicky stuff, like the augmented reality. I still don't think I'd ever actually use. It's fun, and it works.
Very fun.
And rather than having your gauge cluster sitting there while you're driving, it's fun to just have a digital readout of what's happening.
You know what's funny about the actual augmented reality is that what it looks like the real world, but with the structure slider on Instagram cranked all the way to the right.
So maybe that's why we like it.
Maybe
we're just young enough.
They make it look better.
But we need that.
Yeah.
And then also the voice command thing. This one actually has a return command. I don't remember that in the last one.
What do you mean?
So there's a microphone back there, so when they talk, it comes through here as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not that long. Like, it's cool, but come on. They're literally 6 feet away.
Yeah, the next thing they'll have is like, what's the sonar thing that bats do?
Oh, sonar.
No, it's called...
echolocation.
Echolocation.
Yes.
They'll do that, yeah.
Science.
Boom.
Okay, so this is an upgraded one to the last one.
Yes, this is the Platinum, Sport Platinum, rather than just the Sport we were in last time. So we have some fun stuff.
Oh.
We have this like cooled...
It's a cooler.
It's a cooler. It's a cooler. Yeah, that's what you guys call it in America.
That's the word, yeah.
And then we have cooled cup holders, and so, it's cool stuff.
That also has heated and cooled cup holders.
More exciting, though.
More exciting. Alcantara headliner.
More exciting than Alcantara.
Wow, what could be more exciting?
We have the 36-speaker AKG system.
And I'm sure it is absolutely legendary.
No, I have problems with it. It's great. It really is great.
Yeah.
It doesn't go that loud.
Oh.
Like, it's probably louder than most people ever need to listen to it, but if you really want to rock out, it doesn't go that loud.
Okay.
Those speakers have been buzzing a bit.
Buzzing? Like, you mean the actual, it's rattling?
Yeah, it's rattling.
Interesting.
On certain, on certain pitches. And then one thing, and I don't know whether this is like a compliment to the sound system,
That's a bit creaky.
Get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's a compliment to the sound system or a negative for the head-up display.
Okay.
But when you get to any bassy bit of the song, any bass note, it shakes the head-up display. So I don't know whether it's like, oh, this bass is awesome, watch it shake the head-up display, or
it's like
this
they
head-up
should have
display-
made that better.
Yeah.
That is so
But
funny.
the experience is not that different here. It feels more sizable in here. Like it looks roomier in the back.
It is more sizable in here.
We do have a nice glass, same as the GLS. I almost said the S-Class.
Yeah. Oh, don't.
I know. You'll kill me if I do that.
It's just,
if we comment on Mercedes,
we have to comment on this. That is just as creaky. And I will say that the leather in here is, in my opinion, my humble opinion, better than the leather in that Mercedes.
except for the steering wheel. That steering wheel leather feels just a bit base 3
Yeah,
series.
but like that steering wheel is not the nice like leather that you get on the S-Class.
No, but there is more theatre to this steering wheel as well.
Yeah, it's got like the wood inlay and the chrome. No, it's nice. It's all really good. I do like this interior a lot, and I think it is exactly where the Escalade needs to be for the modern age.
Yeah, they've absolutely nailed it.
Be honest, do you really need a third row? Or are you just buying one of these because they are the most boss vehicles on the road? Because if that's the case, then get the Escalade. It comes off as more honest about what it is. That said, if you want a Mercedes SUV and you don't actually need a third row, the GLE with the e-active ride control doesn't feel like a class below, for the same money.
Yes, the Escalade achieves Escaladeness better than the GLS achieves S-Class-ness. And by that I mean it fits the nauseating Instagram influencer level expressions used on the Cadillac website to sell it better than the S-Class does. Things like confidence is an expression of power, and how it gives you latitude to grow your ever-expanding legend. Like, what? Remove the fluff though, and it's still a solid passenger vehicle, just one that doesn't match the smoothness and the refinement of the GLS or the X7. But thankfully for Escalade buyers, they already don't care, because as Cadillac says it themselves, its power to draw in those around you has never been greater.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.